Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to review a game for you. Now the game I'm going to review for you is a game called Nova Cry. I do apologize, I don't have a box to show you at the present time. I do have a very, very nice prototype that I'm going to show you how to play very shortly. Nova Cry is a card-based strategic game of space exploration and combat. I just did a review very shortly about the expansion to Exodus, which is something I really liked. And but I dig sci-fi games. I dig games with dice and multiple player powers and lots of different kooky things going on. And I really enjoy games that aren't scared to include player elimination. So, and this game has player elimination. So, I'm going to show you exactly how to play the game. It should take a little bit of time, but I'm just going to go over everything like I always do. And let me, when I get back here to where I am right now, I'll elaborate on a lot of the reasons why I enjoy the game, and then hopefully maybe somewhere along the way you'll figure out a reason why you think it would be good for you to add to your gaming shelf as well. Alright, cool. So here's how to play Nova Cry. Alright, this is Nova Cry, and I will say right up front, this is a prototype that I have that I'm showing you. And so, whereas I'm going to show you all the decks of cards and everything that you do during a game, when the game is published, it might look slightly different, and the components might be slightly different as well. This is a card-driven game, and so there are several different decks of cards, and just quickly I'm going to just point to these and tell you what they are. This is the planet deck. These are the planets that you try to travel to score points and get special bonuses, and then roll on this discovery table over here. Once you land on the planet, then you can do something extra at that point. This is the ship deck. You only get one ship, and so this game, a lot of the stuff you get is at the very beginning of the game. At the very beginning of the game, you draft your ship, your captain, your captain's weapon, and then your crew, which includes an engineer, a scientist, and a doctor. But obviously those are three decks: the engineer, the scientist, and the doctor. And then there are action cards that coincide with those particular crew members. So like this is an action deck for the engineers, the action deck for your scientist, and the action deck for your doctor. And then up here we have alien crew members, which are kind of like a special power. They're like a weird, different crew member that you can gather through lots of different ways. Your captain deck, and that is basically you, and then also the weapon that your captain has for captain duels. So to begin the game, like I said, you have to draft all of all the different parts: your ship, your captain, and your three crew members. And when you draft, you start off like with the ships. What the first person will do, you roll dice, figure out whoever the first player is. And so then the first player will take 5 of these ships, and then they will lay them out in front of them like so, and then they will pick a ship, and then the person to their left will draw 2 more off the deck, and then they'll pick from those, and that person to the left draws 2 more, and so forth. So when you draft, it isn't just like the last person gets the leavings or whatever. They actually do get like an extra chance to draw 2 more and see what else they would like to have. Just quickly explaining what the ships are. This is the weapon ability. Now that isn't like a number of dice you roll or anything like that, but that is like the weapon power that you have, and that can be decreased due to damage to your ship, which happen through alerts, which I'll explain in just a little bit. Over here, this is the hull. The hull of your ship. Basically, if you take more damage than the hull, then you will explode and you're out of the game. Yes, this game has player elimination. This right here is the warp rating of the ship. Now, the warp rating of your ship determines what different planets you can go to. If your warp rating doesn't meet a planet, so here's a planet, and you can see there's 2 warp here, 2 warp here, he can go to this planet because he has enough warp. However, this particular planet, you can see, has 3 warp, whereas it has 2. So you wouldn't be able to go to that planet. Your ship isn't powerful enough to travel to that location. There is ways to increase that in the game by using some of the action cards or whatever, but so that is part of it. So then after that, you will go on to the your captain, and then your captains, obviously they have their abilities, lead to your crew members gain +2 to all of their skill levels. So that's pretty good, right? And then power 2, increase your bid by 2 when bidding for the Chancellorship. Chancellorship is something basically gives you the ability to have a more and a greater variety of actions that during your turn. Something I'll explain in a little bit, but it's very powerful. But anyway, so as you can see, there's tons of different like races and things. This guy with a floating green head, all kinds of cool stuff like that. And once you take that, you will take the corresponding token of the captain you have. Like here's that first person, that Madame Zines, and you would then put it over here. And this is the victory point track. The first person to 15 points will win the game. So after that, then you draft your captain weapon. They could be weapons like this TMK repeater, precision rifle, grenades, all these different types of weapons. And you take one of those, and you have that as that's the weapon you'll use when you duel. Then you move on to the 3 different types of crew members, and then remember the same drafting procedure. The first person draws 5, picks 1, the person on the left draws 2 more, and so on and so forth. The thing you have to worry about your different crew members is their skill levels. So this guy has like a wrench of 4, and this navigation of 0, and so we go through, here's a guy with 2, and so forth. When you get those, and then you get these abilities, these action cards, you have to have a skill level, the symbols match, you have to have that number or higher, and then you'd be able to use the action card. If not, you can't use that particular action on the action card. You can't use, when you use action cards, you can't get both of the bonuses. You pick which side you want to use, and then you use it. In the rare situation where the card is completely worthless to you, you can't use it, because action cards actually can give a permanent bonus. A lot of them are just a use and get rid of, but say on this one, the brainwave collider on the bottom here, you'll notice there's this little blue arrow there, and that means that it's a permanent effect once you play it. So once per turn, you may knock out 1 unfriendly crew member of your choice, and then you discard 2 cards to do that. You would do this. So let's just say in a situation you have a leader that for your scientist. Here, let me just grab one that would represent this very well. So let's say you have this guy as your scientist, and you notice he has a 0 and a 4. So let's say you got the card that had this, and you have a brainwave collider already. You can't have another one, so you get this card. You can't even use this end of space and time because you need 4 of that ability, and you don't have 4 of that ability. But because of the fact that you can use it to discard 2 cards, and then you use it as kind of a resource, it still can be used. So that's something to keep in mind. And of course, then you do the same thing with the doctors as well, and you also have the 2 different abilities on the bottom, and so on and so forth. So when you begin the game, you should have a captain, a weapon, 3 crew members, and then depending on if there was any kind of special thing, sometimes some of the ships will give you abilities right away. Let me find one here. I know, the Colossus. You begin the game by drawing 3 alien crew members, and so you would just get those 3 crew members to begin the game. So if you have anything like that, you set everything up, and you put that all in front of you, and so you have that information in front of you, and you are then good to go. The turn, whoever rolled and was the first person to start the draft, they're the first player, and they will take their full turn, and the person to the left takes their full turn, and so on and so forth. And you continue on through the game until at least one person gets to 15 points, or by a process of player elimination, having the ship blow up, the person that is last alive, basically, obviously, wins the game in that situation. On your turn, the first thing you will do is you go through your alerts phase. Now, this is something that I should mention. A lot of these decks should be face down. You can't see what's on them. The planet deck should be face down. When we did the drafting, they should be face down. The action cards should be face down. The reason they're face up is because of the fact that it's prototype, there's no back on it, and of course then I wouldn't be able to tell which deck was which, and I like the fact that you can actually see everything when I'm doing this. The same can be said for these alert tokens. Alert tokens should, like, we actually put them in a little bag and shuffled them up and pulled them out, but you can just flip them over as well if you don't want to do that. And you draw one of these, and these are like alerts basically saying there's something wrong with your ship. In this case, it is, you can notice it's minus to the weapon, so it's a weapons jam. One of the weapons on your ship is jamming or whatever. It doesn't affect you immediately. However, you collect one of these each turn, and you can see it, and you put it face down in front of you, and then so nobody else can see it, but you know what they are, and you can look at them at any time. But the moment you get into a ship-to-ship combat, you have to flip over every one of these tokens, and the effect happens immediately to your ship. And so, like, there's a data lock that causes you have to discard one of your action cards if you have one. There is a crew needs. Basically, you have to knock out one of your crew. You just turn them sideways to show that they're knocked out. And also, there is damage to your warp core as well. And so then you would have less. You couldn't move as you can't actually then move because your warp is so low. Or you can move, but it's less. And it should be noted that you can't ever have a 0 warp. You always have at least 1, and you can get like the warp core, the damage to your warp core. You can get it fixed if you can get to a merchant planet, and then you can have it fixed there. But you take one of these, you look at it, know what it is, turn it face down, put it in front of you. And I'll talk more about those when I get to the ship battle portion. After you've done that, you will go through navigation. Now, if you don't have a planet in front of you, you will draw 2 planet cards and then pick one that you want to head to and use it. To begin the game, each person will get 1 planet card. So at the very beginning of the game, you should have a planet card. So the planet cards are pretty straightforward. This one you can see you have a token, a ship token. I didn't get these with the prototypes. We just used cubes. But you just have a marker to show that you're traveling towards this planet. And once you get all the way to the planet, then you can dock with the planet, and you can then explore the planet, and you can go to the discovery table and do that. But as you can see, once you've completed going to this planet, it's worth 2 victory points, and also as a bonus, you'll collect 2 intel points, which is basically the money of the game, and that's these green cubes over here. And you do start with 2 intel points as well at the very beginning of the game. So you start off with the 1, and you move to 2, then 3, and then 4, like so forth. You don't ever like move extra unless there's something you do that breaks the rules, and there are things you can do, and I'll explain some of that here in a little bit. But once you travel, then you would get the discovery, which is this table right here. And when you land on a planet, it's like that was a populous planet, you will roll a 1d6, and then you like knock out a friendly crew member, draw 1 alien card, bid for chancellorship, which I'll explain in just a little bit. Undiscovered planet can actually kill off the people, your friendly crew members. Can actually kill your captain. But you can also earn victory points for doing that, or get an alien crew. Wild planet will knock out. Also earn victory points, draw an alien. And the merchant plan, finally, you can actually spend the green cubes. For 3, you can search any action card deck for 1 card of your choice. 2, you can space dock, draw 3 alien crew cards, then just keep 1, so you can just see which one you want to use. And the Med Center, revive 1 friendly crew member or captain. Now, revive means bring back from being unconscious, not killed. You can actually, there's a thing called bringing somebody back, which you can do, which I'll explain here in just a little bit, and that is actually the way you bring them back from the dead, if you will. So, this had a lot of stuff about the alien crew members in here, so that seems like a good time in any to show these alien crew members. Alien crew members are just kind of a little ability. Like here, the seasoned officer. Seasoned officer. For every seasoned officer you control, draw 1 additional action card whenever you choose the command strategy. Strategies phase in just a little bit. But, you just draw extra and then choose one. Like a service bot. Discard this card and restore your ship's hull by 2, or draw 2 additional planet cards during your navigation phase. So they're just basically another way you can break the rules and do a little extra ability or add to an ability that you're already doing. And so, but that is the navigation phase. After you navigate, you then can decide, this is battle and recruitment phase. You decide if you want to have a ship-to-ship combat. You have to spend 4 green cubes to do that. You can decide if you want to have a captain duel, which you have to spend 2 green cubes for that. Or if you don't want to do, or I'm sorry, you have to, or if you don't want to do either of those, either the battles, you can then spend 3 intel points, and then you can draw an alien card. Once again, another way to get one of those. After you've completed the combat, and I will explain the different types of combat, I just want to skip ahead and just say what the next phase is, and that is the strategy phase. When you get to the strategy phase, then you are able to take 2 actions, and that you can't take the same action unless you're the Chancellor, and I'll explain that in just a second. But I've been saying that a lot, just bear with me. You get to take up to 2 actions, and you can't do the same thing twice. You can do an inspection, which you can remove all of the alert tokens of one type. So if you have, like, say, 3 of these weapon ones on you, and you know that will make it so if you ever fight somebody, you're not going to have any weapon power, you can, like, say, I'm going to do an inspection. You flip over all 3 of these, and then you discard them, and then you put them back. You have to show them, obviously. You can't just pick 3. I'm going to get through into these 3 and throw them out. You got to show what they are and then discard them at that point. You can do a rush, which allows you to move an extra space on your as you're traveling to the planet, so you can get there faster. You can do a command, which allows you to draw 1 action card for one of the 3 decks. Or you can do an emergency revive, which you can discard any combination of 4 intel points or action cards, so you can have 3 cards and 1 green cube or whatever, to bring back your captain or one of your crew members, so you can have them back with you at that time. So, I mentioned the Chancellorship. If you go to a populous planet and you roll a 4, 5, or 6, you will do a bid for the Chancellorship. When you bid for the Chancellorship, if you ever played a bidding game, you take all of your money, your green cubes basically, and you put them in your hand, and you decide how many you want to spend. Everybody puts their hand in the middle, they turn it up, and they open them up like that. And then you figure out then who is the Chancellor. The big thing about being the Chancellor is that, well, I don't have a token to show the Chancellor, so when we played, we used my old friend Hrothgar here, but you just have a token to show you the Chancellor. When you get to that strategy phase where you get to pick the 2 options that you can do, you're actually allowed to pick 3, and you can double up or triple up on one action. So you could, like, take navigation to, like, speed, or I'm not sure navigation, but rush, to speed your way to the planet. You can draw 3 action cards. You can you can do, like, inspection, like several inspections to get rid of all of the damage on your ship, stuff like that. So the Chancellorship is a very, very powerful ability. So a lot of times when we played, we were saving up our green cubes and hoping somebody actually got to a populous planet if they were, and so hopefully they'd roll a 4, 5, or 6 in that case, because we wanted that ability. It's important to note that if you bid and lose, so like if I bid 2 and somebody else bid 3, I don't spend the 2 I bid. I get to take those back and put them in front of me. I know a lot of times I've played games where, like, anything you bid is you're throwing it up and throwing it away. So that's important to note. So if you want to take a chance, you definitely should, because of the fact that Chancellorship is you shouldn't be scared of the idea that you're going to lose your cubes. If when you bid and you tie, so like if I bid 3 and somebody else bids 3 for the Chancellorship, and nobody has the Chancellorship at that point, then it remains untaken, and you just everybody takes their cubes back, and they don't spend it, and the Chancellorship remains untaken. If I had the Chancellorship and I bid 3 and somebody else bid 3 against me, then it does change hands, and the other person that bid the 3 gets it, and then spends their 3, and then I would keep the 3 that I spent. If I had the Chancellorship and I was playing like a 4-player game and more than 2 people tied, so me and 2 other people tied with 3, in that case, the Chancellorship is returned to being unclaimed, and then everybody keeps their intel at that point. So when you have more players and if you all tie, the Chancellorship can go back to nobody having it pretty easily, depending on, and that's kind of one of those things too where it's like you have to show how many intel points you have prior to the bid, so then you can kind of guess what you think other people are going to bid and whether or not you're going to, in that situation, whether or not who, can you maybe somehow guess or deduce that somebody's going to bid 3, so all of you bid the same amount, and so it goes back into the middle. You know, that's something that we definitely like. It's one of those. I do like a bidding mechanic in the game just because I do like trying to figure out how much I can spend or what's fortuitous for me to spend in that situation, but also like trying to figure out what I think the other people are going to spend as well. After you're done with your strategy phase, your turn is then done. If you were able to somehow like maybe dock with the planet and get to the 15 points, then the game would be over, because as soon as somebody gets to 15, the game is over at that point. But if the game is not over, then it goes to the person to your left, and they take their turn and so forth, and goes around the table, and that's how that goes. All right, I did say I was going to talk about the two different types of combat. When you have a ship-to-ship combat, first thing that happens is the person who attacks pays their 4, and then says they're going to attack the other player. You then, everybody flips over their tokens, including the person that is attacking. They take all the different, everything that happens because of that occurs. You adjust your weapon power, you adjust your warp, and so on and so forth. And then you go ahead and each person rolls a d6. If there's any modifiers, you take those into effect. But you roll your d6, and then whoever has the highest number wins the battle and will do damage to the other person's ship. If you tie, the winner of that is the defender. And you do damage depending upon the number of these little icons that you have, minus anything that you might have lost because of those tokens. And then you do that amount of damage in red cubes to the other person's hull. And you continue to have 3 rounds of combat where you roll. If you can somehow manage to destroy the other person's hull, their ship is destroyed and they are out of the game. So you can actually knock people out of the game and try to secure a win via that route. You can cure your hull. Obviously, there was like that alien card over there that allowed to do that, and there's other methods that you can to actually repair your ship as well. So I mean, it isn't like once your ship gets a little bit hurt, you're just like this wreck moving slowly through the cosmos. You can get that taken care of as the game progresses. The other type of combat is the captain duels, and in that situation, the person who attacks spends their 2 green green cubes, like so, and then each person like has a weapon. So like here are these, like so if it was a TMK repeater and a precision rifle, both players then roll a d6, and then they look at this. They look at the card, and then they figure out what exactly happens. So, like, if you rolled a 1 to 2, the TMK repeater has no effect. 3, it's jammed. You cannot roll a die for the rest of the duel. And then 4 through 6, you do 2 points of damage, or you wound the captain twice. The way duels work is that if you take 3 wounds, your captain is killed. But obviously, like I said, there's an expensive process that you can use to bring the captain back. The duels last 3 rounds unless there's something else that happens, like weapon ability that allows that shortens the combat, or there's other actions as well, or other modifiers as well. After the 3 rounds of combat, though, then you just are done. If you did take wounds during the battle, they don't stay with your captain. They are considered healed as soon as the duel is over. I should mention that if you are the Chancellor and your captain is killed, then the Chancellorship does go to nobody. It doesn't stay with the dead captain. Then it goes unclaimed, and then the next time you have a populous planet discovery, then you would have the process of claiming the unclaimed Chancellorship in that case. As I said, those are the 2 types of combat, but the game just continues on until somebody scores 15 points, and then they're declared the winner of the game. This isn't a game where it's like, oh, well, so I got to 15, now everybody gets one last turn to see if they can catch me or anything like that. No, it's like as soon as you get to 15, that is the end of the game. So, I really enjoy this game for a lot of reasons, but let me go into detail of all of those when I do my... I played Dungeons & Dragons today. I'm running the same campaign for about a year and a half now, and I got something along the lines of 15 critical hits on my player characters today. I was pretty excited about that. That has nothing to do with this particular campaign, but I was really impressed with myself for the number of 20s I rolled, so I just wanted to say that. But anyway, Nova Cry. There's lots of reasons why I dig this game. It is quick to teach, which is nice. It is quick to play, which is nice. I've been really liking playing these games that take about 30 minutes to play or so. And the nice thing about this one is it can handle like a fair number of players. I sat down with some friends at my job, and we played this in about, I taught it to everybody in about 5 minutes, and we were up and running, and we played with 4 people, and we were done with the game about 25 minutes later. I mean, it's one of those games where there is definitely strategy, there is definitely fun little things to do, but it is quick to grasp and run with, and I enjoy that about the game. I enjoy science fiction themes, and I enjoy science fiction themed games that make me feel like I'm actually doing what the game is saying. I mean, I actually felt like I was, finding the planets is fun and cool, and I really, it may sound silly, but I really dug rolling on this whole discovery thing. There's something so wonderful watching somebody it's like they're choosing to drop onto the wild planet, and seeing them roll poorly and roll a 1 and have their people get knocked out. Or having on the undiscovered planet, actually having somebody roll really poorly and have their captain just get killed. It's one of those games where you kind of have to just roll with the punches and play to the best of your ability. I'd be remiss without talking about the actual player-to-player combat portion of it. This is definitely one of those games where there's lots of table talk, lots of trash talk going on, and people are constantly saying, you got to get that guy, you got to get that guy, that kind of thing. And but I never felt like there was ever a bash the leader type of situation, mostly because of the fact that you can't just attack people willy-nilly. You got to have the green cubes, you got to spend them. And as a player, being very knowledgeable of how much intel everybody has around the table, and basically gauging how quickly they're able to kind of mess with you and take you on is very, very important, and a very, very needed observation as you play. And it's one of those games where, the first time you played it I felt, okay, this is really straightforward and a lot of fun. But it wasn't the second or the third time you actually start, learning the different cards, learning the different powers, of the different crew members and the alien crew members and things like that. And you start looking for those combos, you start looking for those changes. And definitely because of the whole drafting aspect, when I love drafting, I love that process of it. With the drafting of all of the parts of you, you're not always going to get the ray gun that you want to use. I mean, I remember I got, let me find here, yeah. I got these. They're vapor grenades is what they're called. And you don't, the vapor grenades do no damage whatsoever. So if you take this as your weapon, your whole goal is that you can't really, it's tough for them to kill you, because if you roll a 4 or 5, you drop a smoke screen, and then the combat ends the next round. And if you roll a 6, you just escape. And so the whole idea is people are getting ready to fight you, and they're like, do I want to spend 2 of my green cubes? Because this stuff isn't easy to come by. It's tough to collect. Do I really want to spend those cubes to attack somebody that if he rolls a 6, it's just wasted? I don't even get a chance to, kill off his captain. And so I actually had a really good game playing with this, because nobody wanted to fight me, and then I was able to collect my cubes, my green cubes anyway, and then I was able to use that intel, instead of having to worry about spending it to revive or bring back my captain back to life. I was able to use that to purchase alien crew members and go to merchant plants and things like that, and I ended up winning that game. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's every time, I know people say a lot, every time you play this, it's going to be different, but, it really is. Every time you play it, it's going to be different. You're going to have situations where it's okay, fine, I'm going to take this ship, and, the Orion ship, you saw that one, it's got 4 warps, so, the whole idea of the Orion ship is, and not a lot of hull, this is just escape, go quick, grab stuff, grab the really expensive planets. I didn't explain this, but the more warp it takes to get to a planet, the more points it's worth when you grab it. So like here is Nomaeus, the undiscovered planet, and it's worth it's worth 4 points if you can get to it, and you have to have 4 warp to go to that one. Whereas to go to like these ones that just have only 3 spots, it's only worth like 2 points. And so like if you have that particular ship, your whole goal is to get the big planets and like try to avoid combat as much as possible. And so you draft cards for that ability, and you draft engineers that have the cards that allow you to fix your hull. So if somebody is messing with you and like attacking you, you can fix that in your spare time. So there's all kinds of stuff like that, and you just kind of have to take the cards that you get in the drafting part and build the best combination, if you will, and then play the game out and see how well you do. And plus, I love games where you can fight with each other and you can mess with people and you can attack people, and plus, it isn't like combat is just for sure in any way, shape, or form. You're stepping into that, and if you roll bad, it's going to be you that's going to get the fuzzy side of the popsicle, and you're not going to be happy. So there you go. For all those reasons, I really enjoy Nova Cry. I think if you like games that have head-to-head combat with people and backstabbing and what have you, not really backstabbing because you all know you're going to be beating the heck out of each other, but if you like being merciless, I guess, in your games, I think this is a game for you. If you like space exploration games, I think this is for you. And if you like card-driven games, I think strategic games, I think this is going to be for you as well. So there you go. If you have any questions about the game, please post those. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until the next one, as always, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right. Bye-bye.